Let's start with Countess. So, she got a new skin. Looks pretty dapper. Definitely going to be copping that one when it comes on. So, looking at her numbers, basically she just got damage taken away for and replaced for survivability. But obviously, if you look at the magic power scaling, she gains back that damage that she lost at the later stages of the game. So it's not that big of a deal. Like, the damage is inconsequential in comparison to survivability that she's going to be gaining. So we'll see how that affects her in the upcoming patch. So these changes to Sparrow are more to help her laning phase, not really to help her in the later game. Obviously, the changes to the piercing shot increases her late game due to the mana change and also the physical power scaling, but it's not that insane that it makes her like giga broken late game. These changes are mostly orientated to help her in the laning phase, to allow her to use more spells in the laning phase without needing to recall every 5 seconds, and not be punished by using that Q and draining half her mana pool and then not being able to cast Q for the next 3 or 4 minutes. So I think this is a good change. We'll see how this helps her in the current meta and see if she's like becomes more viable. Only time will tell. The Revenant is getting some love. He's getting some base stats increased, and he's also getting his R&B increased by 0.2, which when you look at that, it might be like, oh, it's not that much, but I feel like that buff is going to be quite good for Revenant and bring him up to the power level of the Kira and the Drongos of the world currently. So Steel is kind of in the same boat as Sparrow, is that he needed help in his early game in the laning phase, so they've done some changes to allow him to do that without making him giga busted like he used to be. So these changes will just help him get through the laning phase and allow him to kind of be the big orange man that we know he can be. So moving on to Greystone, he got a nerf in the early game for his passive. His E got a 3% nerf on slow, and also his ultimate got a slap of a 20-second cooldown on his level 3 ultimate. I don't think this is going to affect Greystone too heavily. I think it's more just going to affect the like downtime that he has on going ham and trying to like hold back 2 or 3 members and then ulting to stall. But yeah, I don't think it's going to impact him that much. Here I got a little nerf on her E. The bonus physical power duration decreased from 6 to 4 seconds. We'll see how that impacts her. So Morigesh got a buff to her base health, and her Q, the targeted ability Mark, is getting a nerf to compensate for the buff on Hive. At least that's the way I look at it, because obviously the Hive is a aimed ability, whereas Mark, you can just walk up and press R and B and then you've applied it. And then the E is getting a reshuffle in power and also giving it more healing or survivability. Let me know what you think about this change from Morigesh. So Rampage got a bug fix, which then led to him obviously his passive getting nerfed slightly. You're only going to be losing like maybe 1 HP per second in the jungle in comparison to before, and also his ultimate got a buff of 50 HP. So here are the items that are getting buffed this patch. I would say that all of these items are getting like minor buffs that are not going to revolutionize or change everyone's builds, but these items might be in that situation where people might think about buying them more because of the buffs, and we might see some different builds popping up due to this. But Revolution and Spike Birch are also here because they got bug fixes, which then give them the power that they should have had in the previous patches. So here are the items that are getting nerfed this patch, and obviously Flux Matrix got hit with a passive, and you might be wondering, why is Infernum here? It must be good, right? It's got a buff to its base stats. It triggers faster. I overall don't think that this is going to be a buff. I think it's like it maybe is a close like medium where it's like not a buff but not a nerf. I personally think that this is a nerf, just in terms of damage. Obviously, in terms of like proccing it, it's a lot easier, but the damage over time is obviously taken away, and obviously the attack power scaling has also been taken away. But I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe I'm wrong. Everyone can be wrong. But what do you guys think in the comments? Okay, well, we have to sadly say goodbye to Chaotic Core. Yeah, it's gone. It's removed from the game. Never to be seen again. So, yeah, goodbye, Chaotic Core. So an item that's getting reworked this patch is Time Warp. And Time Warp is getting its armor removed. Its cost reduced. Added 150% mana regen. Magical power decreased from 100 to 90, and ability haste increased from 15 to 25, and its recipe is also being changed. So I personally don't feel like Pred needed a mana regen item. I feel like if you just build 2 mana like orientated items, like either combustion or megacosm, and you took reroll buffs when needed, or you reset when needed, and you like kind of read the map and like you knew kind of what was happening on the map. I don't feel like you needed the mana regen, but I guess we'll see where this item lands and if people buy it and people use it, and see what builds get changed because of this change.